Hey you guys, my name is Nikki C. Patterson, owner and operator of I Prevail K through 12 Academic Learning Center and I Prevail K through 12 Educational Consulting. As an educational consultant, I teach parents how to disrupt the one size fits all practices, policies, and procedures of the public school system so that their child can receive a quality education. Typically, when I come in, it's because a parent has posed a question to me and they would like an answer to show how their child can receive a quality education. However, with everything that has been going on in our local school district, I decided to transition from answering parent questions where it provides that parent with a solution for their child to providing experiences and my skills and knowledge as a teacher who's been in a district for more than 10 years so that more parents can receive an answer to what's going on in our district at this time. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but our school board members recently decided not to renew our current superintendent's contract. So, June 2020, his contract is going to be expiring, and we're going to be getting a new superintendent in. Well, one question that's always come up is what do we do with the lowest performing schools? What are we doing with the lowest performing schools? And if you're not familiar with it, most of the schools that are low performing in Assumption Parish are your black schools. And so, what I've decided to do was to host a book study. A couple of years ago, I wrote a book called How to Win as a Principal. And this book contains a 9 step process called diversity, which teaches principals working in low performing schools how to improve their low performing schools. Each one of the letters in diversity stands for a step of the process. And in previous videos, we've discussed D, which is demographics matter. Who are your students and your teachers, and how do those correlate to one another? We've also discussed the I, investigate the data. What data is adding to your school becoming a low performing school? Your V, what's your vision for success beyond the test scores? What vision have you set for your students? E, employ the right teachers, employ the right staff. Now that we're looking for a superintendent, what's the criteria that we're going to use to employ that individual? And today we're going to come in and we're going to look at the R. R is relationship building. We all know that if you're not compatible and you don't spend the time to get to know each other, then that relationship is not going to be well. And that means your teacher to teacher relationships, your teacher to leader relationship, as well as your teacher to student relationship. And in the book, I discuss relationship building and some of the practices, the tips, the tools, the strategies that I was able to use as a classroom teacher for more than a decade to help build relationships with my students. I was very successful, and it gives some different examples of what I've been able to do. One example that I know as a classroom teacher, when building relationships, things look different for people. Different cultures have different ideas of what a relationship is and different norms. And so in the book, we start to look at how do we build relationships based upon the norms. I wouldn't want to come into your community and not know how to address or to fit in with your culture, with your people, with your norms, with what's going on already in that community. And I wouldn't expect you to do the same. I wouldn't want you to come into my community and if things are established and I haven't explained that to you and you come in and you feel uncomfortable, no one should have to feel uncomfortable in a partnership or a relationship. And I know sometimes as teachers or adults, we say, oh, this is my classroom. I've got my education already. You need to get yours. Well, that's starting off on the wrong foot. And so in the book, I discuss how I was able to build relationships using a common thread. What is respect? To students and teachers, that looks totally different. But if I'm going to expect that relationships are formed, then I need to not only set norms, but expectations for what those relationships are going to be about. And so in the book, I discussed that in detail. However, with the new superintendent coming through, and we want to make sure that relationships are formed from the ground level up, we want to be able to put a plan in place. And so when the superintendent comes in and says, hey, what's going on in the Belrose schools? What's going on in our lowest performing schools? We as residents and parents of students who attend those schools or who live in the community, we can come in and we can say, hey, this is the plan that we feel would be best for our children. And that plan, as I said, we're going to use the steps, the 9 steps that's found in How to Win as a Principal, which is a book that I wrote based upon my son's experiences in the Belrose School, which is a low performing school, and how I was able to work with his teachers and his leaders to figure out the problems and then also to provide solutions. So we're going to use that plan and we're going to go through a book study. And the book study is going to begin on June 1st. And we're going to go through each one of those steps so that we can not only create a plan for what the superintendent can use to improve those low performing schools, but also as parents, what we can do to hold the teachers and the leaders accountable, what we can do to teach and train our children, because after all, we are the help that we seek. So it is my prayer that you can join us for the book study. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. NikkiCPatterson.com is my website, or you can email me for more information, info@NikkiCPatterson. That's NIKKI, info@NikkiCPatterson.com. I am so looking forward to going through this book with you guys, giving you practical tools and strategies that you can help so that all of our principals working in low performing schools can succeed as leaders. Thank you guys and have a great evening. Bye.